Prepare to be captivated by the business story of the week, hosted by me, Shaheen Shan. Join us on a journey through the twists and turns of entrepreneurial triumphs and setbacks. Immerse yourself in the narrative and witness the magic that turns dreams into reality. This is Business Story of the Week.
And welcome back, folks. Welcome back to Business Story of the Week. My name is Joshua. I am your host every day, every single day. And like we always do, we unravel stories of success. We unravel stories of perseverance. We bring you multi-talented, multifaceted guests in every industry to share you their insights, their wisdoms, and motivate you not just in your entrepreneurial journey, but also in your life journey. Today, I'm very excited to have Zoe Cunningham on here on the show. She is a multi-talented professional known for her roles at Softwire, a leading digital software development consultancy, where she started being a developer and to now being the director at Softwire. Additionally, Zoe is also an accomplished actor. We need to talk about that. I'm excited about that. Author of 3 books and a World Ladies Backgammon Championship winner. We definitely need to talk about that one. She brings a wealth of experience in managing and motivating technical teams at Softwire and is, of course, recognized for her contributions to both the tech and the entertainment industry. Zoe, I am very excited to have you on here. How are you doing? Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Joshua. I really appreciate how you introduced me in such an all-round way, because one of the challenges I find is that when you do more than one, when you work in more than one industry, everyone wants to pigeonhole you and think of you as one specific thing. So I really appreciate being recognized for everything.
And of course, it's like it wouldn't do you justice just putting you in one of these areas that you have achieved, because like you said it yourself, you have done loads of different things, which is great because I get bored easily, you said. In one of on your website is Softwire. It would not do you justice to not have that all introduced about you, and I definitely needed to mention all of that. But Zoe, where did this all begin? I always like to start the show that way. What is the story of Zoe Cunningham? Have you always known you'll be an actress when you were a child? Have you always been into sci-fi? Have you always been into tech, programming, mathematics, graduating in Cambridge? What is the story of Zoe Cunningham?
Wow. So I'll try and there's the long version and then the still really quite long version. So I'll try and keep it as short as I can as an answer. But in terms of what was there when I was really young, I always loved performing and all forms of performing. And actually there's 2 jobs that I really wanted when I was a child, like what do you want to be when you grow up? And the first was a ballerina. So when I was about 5, I wanted to be a ballerina. And then by the time I was 12, I really wanted to be like a theoretical physicist. So those were my two jobs. And obviously I've ended up not in those areas, but actually in quite very similar areas.
Precisely.
Right. And actually my journey is really, I feel like my journey to get here, I feel like if you take those 2 things as like where I came from, it took me a while to get back to a point where I had both of those things in my life.
Wow. Okay.
Because originally, I started, well, when I was much younger, I feel like performing is much more accessible when you're young, and everyone is happy to entertain like drama classes or school plays, and everyone is very much, or certainly in my life, everyone's very like, that is not a career, that is not how you make a living. So despite loving that, I quickly found myself in much more of the science technology kind of route. That eventually led to me doing a mathematics degree. And I think that was kind of the point that I can look at and say, I'd pigeonholed myself at this point, right? So I did a mathematics degree and I was like, I'm a science person, I'm a tech person. I went on to become a computer programmer. So that formed like the basis of my life, I would say, for 15 years or so. I worked at Software. I actually joined Software straight out of university as a graduate programmer.
Okay, wow.
And worked my way through loads of different roles, including eventually becoming managing director. So I ran the whole business and I grew it fourfold.
Wow.
I grew the turnover to 20 million. So I had like a proper serious like business job.
Right.
And then in 2014, I read a book called The Artist's Way. And The Artist's Way is a book for unblocking creative people. And I found through reading this book that, so I actually started it thinking that I wasn't an artist and I wasn't blocked. And I actually found through reading this book and doing the exercises that I was blocked. And that in fact, I had this part of myself, right, that I knew about when I was younger, that had, that I'd kind of shelved, this kind of creative performing part. And and I started training to be an actor at age 35, which really is quite old. And I can talk about how challenging that process is. And I've developed it into this blended lifestyle where I'm an actor and a film producer, and I'm also a technologist. And that's how my life works best. My life works best for me when I do both, and I don't need to choose one or the other.
That is what a fantastic story. And again, it doesn't do you justice to just put you as a mathematics, genius, or like a developer on the science and tech side. You yourself found you meaning in that because you wouldn't have pursued it, right? It's something that means a lot to you as well. It was interesting enough for you to pursue it for what you said. You went straight into tech, a job right out of education, and throughout those years, you were thinking, I probably, the entertainment, the art side of me is gone. The ship has sailed, and this is a common story for most people, is it not? It's a common story, I bet, for most of our audience and listeners as well. And like, you're pursuing a more professional, more sure role now, a more sure career path, but that doesn't mean you still can't pursue creative paths, because at least for you, Zoe, one and two sides of the coin is actually what makes you whole. And I think that's beautiful that you still pursued it at the age of 35. Man, I probably still have time, don't I?
Well, so I actually have a really funny story that I
Please.
realized that I wanted to be an actor when I was about 24, I think. And I remember
Oh,
reading about Catherine Zeta-Jones, and she did an
okay.
interview and she said, I found it difficult to become an actor because I was very shy when I was younger. And I
Uh-huh.
realized I had to work really hard to overcome my shyness so that I
Right.
could be an actor. And
Uh-huh.
that applied to me too. Like I was very shy when I was younger,
Okay.
and I didn't fit in with the other people who did acting, whereas I
Oh.
did fit in with the science and technology people. And I remember thinking, age 24, like, oh my God, why didn't I know
Uh,
this when I was 10?
mm.
Why did no one tell me I could work on my shyness? Now I'm
Exactly.
24. I'm too old. I'm too old. I can't do it anymore.
Uh,
So it's hilarious to me to realize age 35 that I was not too old. I was wrong to think that at
yes,
24.
exactly. And it's now, which brings me to the question now. It got me really curious. Both sides of your career and where you are at right now are both, I would say, enriches your life. It's curious now to me. It's like, is there a particular one that enriches you more, or is how does the other fulfill you more in a way that your acting doesn't fulfill your tech side? That's very interesting. Could you tell us about that,
Yeah, absolutely. And there's many, many different ways to answer this question. Um,
please?
the one that feels most obvious to me is that of like cycles and of how, as we work at something, we develop expertise, which is the other thing that I always really want to stress to people when people ask about careers and want to talk about careers.
Right.
It's very easy to be in a fixed mindset view of the world where you're like, I'm good at math, I'm good at whatever, right? And actually, it's much more fulfilling and will help you achieve more to be in a growth mindset of whatever I work on, I will develop. And eventually, the thing, whatever talent I have to start with, whatever time I spend developing something is what I will become good at. And I feel that I spent a lot of time, even all the way through school, I spent a lot of time developing my analytic capacities, my mathematical skills, all of the things that I took into my day job, where I then spent a lot of time developing management skills and leadership skills and technological development skills, like how to build a software product. I was training in that kind of constantly. For like 15 years of my life. Whereas I feel with entertainment, so with making films and with acting, I'm much more at the start of the journey, and I'm much more,
I see.
The path ahead of me feels a lot less clear. And I think often in life, that can be the most exciting thing. It's daunting, but it's also exciting to not know what's going to happen and to think, what could be.
Exactly. And it's like, the other side is, you probably reach a sort of peak in there, and it's fulfilling in the sense that you already know what you're doing, you're confident in those areas. On the other side as well, it's like, it's just a joy to being a beginner, just a joy to just rediscovering things and getting back on, this kind of like the unknown, so to speak, and that must feel exciting as at the same time as it's terrifying. And of course, it's acting, right? It's entertainment, it's film, and it's like it's an entirely different sort of realm. Because it's funny, because you said you wanted to be a ballerina when you were 12, and then you went on to like being a mathematician. It's like you wanted to be a theoretical physicist. It's fun. It's funny. It's cute at the same time, because it almost feels like a complete polar opposite, but you've lived it, and I think that's a very admirable and very great story. Let's try to focus on one side of the coin for the meantime. Your experience in Softwire is known for, or at least Softwire is known for exceptional customer service, software engineering. Could you share some insights now as being the director, and how you maintain such high standards, and especially as a company that has grown to over 300 employees? And does acting, being an actress, play into taking care of those employees? Tell us about that, Zoe.
Yeah, great question. So, and I love that you use the word high standards, because I think that
Mm-hmm.
high standards are one of the most important things, that your standards and your values. And I
Yes.
think that often everyone's always trying to do things the shortcut way or the quick
Right.
fix way. And
Uh huh.
in business, it really doesn't work.
Uh
And
huh.
everyone's, I feel, always trying to like sacrifice their values and sacrifice what they think is good
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
to get ahead or make more money, and it just doesn't work. So I
It
think
doesn't.
the core to Softwire is that we do have high standards and do an amazing
Mm-hmm.
job, and we have really strong values. So we really
Right.
believe in um, doing the best for our clients. We really believe in
Precisely.
being trustworthy and delivering on the trusting our clients and delivering on the trust that they put into
Mm-hmm.
us. And we also believe in caring for our employees. Like, that's not just something we do, it's like a value of the business, and it's a
Of
value of the
course.
people. I don't ever want to work for an organization that doesn't care
Uh
for
huh.
its employees. It's a
Yes.
key value of mine and a key value of Softwire's. And
Absolutely.
finally, we believe in having fun, which
Yes.
again, a lot of organizations don't understand this, and they almost
Uh
feel
huh.
like if you're having fun, you can't be doing your job. Whereas I
Right.
think people do their best work when they are also having fun at the same time.
Right. That is so true. And I love that. I love that there's a common thread right now from all these guests that I've been interviewing, that I've had the honor of interviewing. And I love that there is more talk when it comes to valuing, employees, valuing their well being, valuing, purposeful work, making their work meaningful. But more than that, making it fun because, people truly do their best when they have fun at work. And I love that that is one of your values. And I think that is really the makings of a very successful organization. And it's no surprise that Software is known for its exceptional customer and customer service and unmatched satisfaction, so to speak. Zoe, let's go on the other side of the coin. But this time, I want to ask a little bit about maybe actually in the middle of the side of the coin. You are a world ladies backgammon champion. This is just, to me, is just like wow. Like it's not as surprising, but I find it really cool. You've also have published 3 books, and um, from these achievements, how has these contributed to your personal life, and not just your personal growth, but your personal life as well? And why backgammon?
Well, so yeah, backgammon is a little bit random. So I love playing
Yes,
board games in general.
yes,
And
mm-hmm.
my husband and I started going to a local backgammon club in London, and we
Yes.
ended up going to tournaments around the world, one of which
Wow,
is the World Championships.
let's
And
go.
backgammon is a game that I would describe as kind of 50% skill and 50% luck. So
Mm-hmm,
chess, there maybe is a tiny bit of luck in terms of how you're feeling or what happened to you,
mm-hmm.
but mostly
Uh-huh.
it's skill, flat up.
Yes.
Like if I play Magnus Carlsen will win. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
no luck in it.
For sure.
But I
Yes.
can play the best backgammon player and I still have maybe a
Wow.
2%, 3% chance of winning, right?
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
so there's always luck.
Yes.
So one of the things with backgammon is almost like you have to be in it to win it.
Mhm.
Like there's always a
Yes.
chance. Um, and
And you won. You became a
um,
champion.
yeah, so it's I don't have a great story about why I'm Ladies World Backgammon Champion. It's just a game I enjoyed playing. I got there, and yeah, there we
How
go.
do you feel like it contributed to you in your personal life, and enjoying these games, and um, being a champion, so to speak, must have been exhilarating. So, um, being a champion must have been exhilarating, right? It must have been something that you must be proud of as well. Um, how do you balance all of this? You were also an author of 3 books. How do you balance all that, Zoe?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and I think that one way I've started viewing my life and what I want to get out of life. So I've been a bit like, why do I do all these random things? What's driving me? And one
Hmm.
of the things I've noticed is that a lot of these achievements lead to more opportunities. And
Right.
actually, something I'm very aware of in life is that we do not all have the same opportunities. And while I
Uh huh.
believe in
Uh huh.
working hard to maximize what you have, like not everyone has the same opportunities. And a lot of the
Yes.
things that I have worked at or achieved, it's not always so much the achieving it in itself, it's the opportunities
Yes.
that it
Yes.
leads on to.
Yes.
And being backgammon world champion is actually a really good example of this
Right.
because one of the things I started doing before I
Hmm.
read The Artist's Way and realized I wanted to be an actor, I actually started presenting backgammon TV shows.
Oh.
And looking back,
Oh,
it's
that's
really
that's
obvious
cool.
how that was my little bit of acting that I felt I could do and
Mhm,
I felt was
mhm,
within my
mhm.
capability.
Yes.
But being ladies world champion actually really helped with that because it gave
Right.
me a title and it gave me a
Right.
profile. And I
Yes.
think that often, yes, we can pursue things just for like the
Uh-huh.
sake of our own ego, but
Uh-huh.
actually, I think a lot of the time our brains are smarter than we think they
Yes.
are, right?
Yes.
And I
Yes.
think that a lot of the things we pursue are because we realize that
Right.
they will be beneficial for us and they will open up. opportunities. So
Wow.
being managing director of software opened up opportunities to me. Being ladies world backgammon champion opened opportunities to me. And I'm
I love
hoping
that.
that being successful in the entertainment world will also open opportunities to me.
I love that. I love that, Zoe. I love how you say that the opportunities are not equal for everyone. So I love that you are also taking, you're not taking it for granted, because not many are going to be able to afford that. And it gives that kind of sense of like you're doing them an honor for, like, for the people who doesn't have these opportunities. You are maximizing them, and you're allowing these doors, other opportunities to open up for you. And it speaks a lot about what happened in you as a career, your career as an actress, because now it's like you started a TV show, and it's like getting your feet wet before you got into acting. But also, I love that you said the title of champion, right? I would love to have myself the title of champion one day. So I would work on that. Maybe something like a Scrabble champion, so to speak.
Sure.
Right?
Or tiddlywinks. I think I read a book once about someone who did set out exactly. He said, "I want to be a champion of something." So he researched like what was the what would he have the best edge in to compete. So
Exactly.
yeah, think laterally and think of all the things you could enter.
And there is a lot of opportunities and possibilities, like you have shown us and like you have proven in your life. Zoe, let us move to the other far side of the coin now. I am excited to talk about your role in your latest role, actually, in Breaking Infinity, a sci fi film about a scientist who lost his memory and finds out he invented a time machine, which caused him to lose that memory. They would just spoil the entire film. Zoe, talk to us about this experience. Talk to us about how it feels like it went all together, because you're a programmer. You're obviously a mathematician. We are quite the definition of nerds, and you are in the dream world, a fantasy of all the nerd and sci-fi buffs, sci-fi fans out there. How must have that felt? Talk to us about this new career of yours and going into the entertainment industry.
Yeah, there's so much to say here. So I
Please.
think the first thing is coming from the technology world,
Hmm.
where technology demand for technology is growing exponentially. There
Right.
is more and more technology. There are more and more jobs in technology, and jobs in
Hmm.
technology get
Hmm.
better and better paid. That's the
Right.
world I came from.
Uh
The
huh.
entertainment industry, the revenue streams are shrinking. There is more and more content. There are more and more people who want to work in the entertainment
Yes. Yes.
industry. It's extremely competitive, particularly for creative roles. So, particularly to be an
Right.
actor, a director, a writer, it's very competitive.
Uh
So,
huh.
I went from being successful in my technology career to starting
Right.
at the bottom as an actor and
Ooh. Okay.
realizing how challenging it was. And as an actor, if there are any actors watching or anyone who's been involved in a creative project, like even working for free is competitive
Oh
in the creative
goodness. Of
industry.
course.
Like
Of
even
course.
I was being turned down for roles where they're like, oh, there's no pay, and they still get like hundreds of people applying.
Oh
So
goodness.
the thing that I discovered was that I had a transferable skill set from my day job of being able to produce projects, essentially project management, produce projects and put them together. So
Hmm.
that's what I used to start making my own work. And I actually started much smaller. Breaking Infinity is almost like the culmination again of like
Yes,
8 years
please.
or so of building up to it. So
Tell us
starting
the
with
others, please.
small theatre productions, short films,
Uh huh.
zero budget feature films where you all get
Hmm.
together in a house and you film, and it's like maybe not as professional as something like Breaking Infinity, but you make a feature film and everyone has a great time. So I
Yes,
did
of
all
course.
of this journey to get to Breaking Infinity. Um, and yeah, you're right. It is a dream, and it does feel like a dream. And um, yeah, I'm incredibly lucky to have had the opportunity and the inspiration and the grounding to be able to get there.
I'm sorry. I'm checking out your IMDb on here. and you have quite actually the number of films under your and TV as well under your belt. And one of them is wait, my question was, are any of these were memorable to you? The early ones where you said that were the small ones, like kind of like an independent, smaller, project that you produce and manage yourself. Are any of these that stand out, the early ones? And tell us about that.
Sure. So one of my kind of IMDb credits that I think is most notable is actually a film called The Look of Love, which
Yes.
stars an actor called Steve Coogan. And the reason that one's notable is that
Uh-huh.
it actually happened before I read The Artist's Way and realized I want to be an actor.
Oh
And it
wow.
happens for a really interesting reason, which is another thing that I'm a big believer in and I talk about, and actually is the topic of my second book, which is networking.
Hmm.
And lots of people think about networking as you go out into the world and you want something, you want to sell something or you want to get something, and you go out and you ask everyone if they
Hmm.
have this thing you want, right? And
Yes.
actually, the real magic of networking is that it can lead to opportunities you didn't know existed and you
Hmm.
didn't even know were available to you.
Yes.
Um, and one of these examples is this film called The Look of Love, where at the time I was doing my backgammon TV interviews that I mentioned, and one of my friends had another friend. So it's not even my friend directly working on this, but his friend was working as an assistant director on the film The Look of Love, and they
Right.
needed a journalist. And
Oh,
so
I
they asked my
see.
friend, and he said, "Oh, Zoe, you're a journalist." I'm like, "Well, I do TV interviews. I'm not sure that's the same,"
Hmm.
but it was enough to satisfy the director. So
Right.
I went and had two lines in this feature film, and it's interesting as well. Once I came on to read The Artist's Way and go, "Oh, I want to be an actor," is that I remember
Uh-huh.
being on this feature film and thinking, this would be amazing. Wouldn't it be amazing to be an actor? Oh, but that's not for people like me. So I
Right.
obviously was blocked, and there was something that I'd said to myself, oh, you're not allowed that. And so
Hmm.
reading The Artist's Way and getting through that really changed the course of my life.
Wow, that is fantastic, and it happened before you even read that book. But it was also really kind of happening for you already. It almost like was that final push for you, and you are credited at the Look of Love as reporter number two. So you truly are embracing that journalist role of yours. Zoe, as much as I would love to keep you on here, I have this one last bit of interesting anecdote on the podcast World Film World Film Geek. Ladies of film, you said how well you judge a screening is how many people laugh at different bits because, especially about, sci-fi films like that. It's not a scary film. People don't get jumping scared. But if people laugh at the small bits, that shows how engaged they are. And that speaks to the film of how engaging it is because, people pay attention basically. Zoe, how do you see yourself in the entertainment industry? But more than that, how do you see yourself in the future of, you know, creating these memories and these moments where, you know, you go into more screenings where you notice people are laughing and more engaged than they are, but also at the same time, do you see yourself continuously engaging, people and employees in the tech industry? Basically, what is the future for Zoe Cunningham?
Well, so that's quite the question, isn't it? Um, I I've really learned, and I think that one of the things about achieving anything in your life is that even small, and this is why I say start small, right? Because to
Right.
try something too big and fail teaches you it can't be done. But to try something small and succeed teaches you it can be done. And
Oh,
as you do
beautiful.
one small thing, and it leads to the next thing, and you achieve that, and it leads to the next thing, you create this cumulative progress where suddenly it's like climbing a mountain that you
Hmm.
sometimes almost get to the top and look around and go, how did I get here? I was at the
Hmm.
bottom. I was at the bottom and it was really hard work. And I thought I was never going to get anywhere. And now look at the views, look at where I am.
Right. Right.
So I want to keep building on what I've been doing. I want to really focus. My next projects are going to be set in a science fiction universe that I created called Attic, which stands for the Atopian Traxinian Interstellar Consociation.
Oh, come on.
So that's my focus for the future. And you've absolutely correctly highlighted that it's all about engagement. And I want to, and like all human beings, right, I want to bring good to the world, and I want to help other people out. And I think that actually it's something we all share, that in whatever way that we find to interact in our own lives, we're all here like trying to help each other out, which is one of the real magic, one of the real pieces of magic of being a human being, right?
That is so true, Zoe. I couldn't have said it more beautifully than you have said just now. That quote you just said earlier it should be on every clip. We're gonna put that out there, and it's beautiful, Zoe. It is, and it's just as lovely as the stories that you've told us today, and the inspiration, really, because it's an inspiring thought, or inspiring to see that you are pursuing both dreams of yours with equally successful, pursuits, so to speak. And I couldn't think of a more lovely story ending to that. And you say it in such a enthusiastic way. It's quite contagious. I love it. I hope you found the opportunity and all more opportunities in the future, basically. Zoe, I'd like to give you this opportunity. Where can we find you? Where can we connect with you? Where can we find out more about perhaps Softwire? Where can we stay updated with you on your latest film career, your new sci-fi universe? Are you on Instagram? Are you on LinkedIn? Please let us know.
Sure. So the three main platforms I use are LinkedIn. So feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, particularly if you want to talk about technology. I'm on Twitter and on social media in general, everywhere. I'm Zoe F. Cunningham, F for Freddie. So Zoe F. Cunningham on Twitter and Zoe F. Cunningham Instagram. My website is zoefcunningham.com. Breaking Infinity is on all major digital platforms. So it's on Amazon, it's on Apple, it's just released on Rakuten. So yeah, just Google Breaking Infinity and you'll find that if you wanna watch my best piece of work today.
Oh, absolutely. I invite our audience and listeners right now to, after watching this show, get on that, put on your Amazon Prime, put it on your Netflix. I will definitely do that myself. Zoe, how about Attic? Where can we stay updated on your new project?
So, well, there's a few things launching. So we just shot a feature film, which we're actually currently deciding on the title of. So it's very hard for me to advertise it, but stay in touch with me and you can find out about the film. We also are launching an Attic board game that will be launched at the UK Games Expo in June.
How cool is that?
Which is entitled Attic, and that's being launched by BaffleBox Games. So BaffleBox Games, again, the website is baffleboxgames.com. It's BaffleBox Games on Instagram. So please do check that out and join our Kickstarter if you're interested in board games. And there's I've got an artist working on a comic for me as well, which is very exciting, but that will probably be the third out of everything to arrive.
Okay, these are literally, you're just rattling out literally the coolest project of any sci-fi nerd buff and fan out there. I am definitely interested. I am psyched to have that all out there. I'm looking forward, Zoe. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. And thank you for coming onto the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Joshua. It's been amazing to meet you. I've really enjoyed chatting to you.
Thank you so much. And to all our audiences and listeners out there, see you on the next one.
All right, so here's the thing. We try to get a little bit better every day, but we can't do it without you. So if you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe below. And if you have any comments, just leave them in the space under.